Let's share the. Is it that my light is not bright enough or what? Um, Let me change this. I'm trying to change my life. Yeah, I know. Uh, each time I come live like this. Yes. Ooh. Ah. Yep. So, welcome. Thank you. I wanted you to check, is everything okay from your end there? What's the preview? The sound is okay. Yeah, you can hear me. So, I should have scheduled it, but we'll charge this later. Welcome, everybody. And tonight I'll be talking on a very what controversial or misunderstood topic, which is what money. There is two topics society don't like to talk about: is money and love, and we use it whether we they educate you or not. We tend to use money like oxygen. Some people say it's second to oxygen. Whereas love, some people make costly mistakes because they were not informed maybe early enough what it is. But I'm not talking on love. I'm not a love teacher or educator. I'm a money what educator. So for those who are just joining, without further ado, I'll be very brief today because it's a small what teaching. Yes, this is Gloria. Welcome to the show, Gloria Ego, and I do weekly teaching here every what 7 p.m. But today I decided to take a 1 hour back, so it's 8 p.m. today UK time, where I do what I get to teach on certain things. So I run an alternative what media, alternative not media system called what School of Money, building income streams based on what you already know. Hi Sarah, thank you for joining. So today we are talking on a very what basic and important topic, which is what money. What is what money? Is simple. Sarah is there. When I ask Sarah, what is money? Can you tell us in one word what money is? Sarah from Egypt. I think Sarah, you're in Egypt, right? Yes, you joined the last week. When you go on the streets and you begin to ask random people day to day, what is money? What is money? They'll be like, oh, money is a young man said, money is the reward he gets for giving you his time when he works for you. I said, that's good. He said, is it not the thing I get at the end of the month, my salary? So everyone will say, I want money, I'm looking for money, I'm looking for money. But when you just ask them this simple question, what money is, I sat down here 2 days ago. I was like, okay, I'm going to revisit what I did last week. Last week was how to identify your how to identify your monetizable knowledge, because we said knowledge is an asset. I was like, okay, I'm going to revisit it so that I can finish it up. And then it down it, so the message just dropped and said, teach on money. And I was like, oh, I've been talking about money now. For those who follow me on YouTube, every day, School of Money, I get to talk about money. And I was like, what do I need to teach? I was just asking myself, why do I need to teach? I don't know why that topic came. And I was like, okay, yes, that's what I'm going to talk on today, Thursday. And I just quickly went into my Canva, using my skill on Canva. I created a thumbnail for it, and I began to posted. That was on Tuesday night. What is money? What is money? For those who are the FYP, those who are just coming across my videos and maybe wondering what is happening here, this is Gloria Ego, aka OG Speaks, and I run an alternative school system called what? School of Money, where we get to re-educate ourselves again what money is. And our School of Money, SKM, is what? Building income streams based on what you already know. So I help to monetize people's knowledge. But and I run an alternative what school system on alternative I run a daily show on YouTube where I get to do what? Ask the everyday to day person, the business person, the student, the fresh graduate, what tell me that which you know and I'll monetize it. It's a live show I run every day on TikTok, 9 a.m. But now I've adjusted the time to 11 a.m. because I want to accommodate more people, as majority of the people, my audience are from America, and that 9 a.m. a lot of them are still sleeping. So I do it around 11. So it's looking for me 11 a.m. UK time. You find me live on TikTok, where we get to talk about what? Tell me that you know, monetize people's knowledge. So I'm going to take us, I wrote some things down, and I'm going to take us back a bit about what money actually is. So let's go, before I tell you what money is in one word, let's go back a bit. Let's take a step further and go and look briefly the history of money before we came across this word tender note. You see a young person say, oh, give me money. A young child will be like, give me money, give me money. Some of them will be like, does money grow in trees? What is money? What is money? What do they know? So they only know about give me, give me, give me, give me. That is it. Thinking that what money is. So back in the days before we started using what we know as money now, legal tender notes, some call it currency, legal tender notes, and it varies from different locations. So some, the agreed one, the whole world is what? Dollars. But every country have different one. For England, where I reside currently, we use the word pound sterling. For those in Africa, you have each African country have what? The ones they use. Those in America use different one. I think they use, I don't know if they all use dollars, but I know those in the North America use dollars. Then for those in Australia, I don't know what is the currency you use money in your country. Put it in the comment chat. What's your country currency that they use? What is it? Is it dollar? Is it pounds? Is it naira? Is it sefa? Put it where you currently reside, okay? Because you now say that is money. I'll give you a brief story of mine, how I started talking about money, because from my background, I am a BSc statistics holder, not an economist. I didn't do anything relating to money. I've always liked the subject of money, but looking for who to teach, I didn't see anyone to teach me money. So my understanding of money is what, in the terms of the currency. That's my understanding of money. As a young child, I've always wanted to live a life of abundance. I want to have surplus to use and help people. Okay, there was something that happened to me, which was a bit of a shocker. When I came from, first of all, when I moved from Nigeria, I went to Benin Republic. For those who are not Africans, Benin is the next country to Nigeria in the West Africa. The currency changed. I was like, "Ooh!" That was the first time I had to move from a different currency that I needed to change, a different country that I needed to change currency. And then I changed into the CFA. Benin Republic used CFA. And when I finished with Benin, I needed to travel to England. And I changed currency again. So I had some of them, because for me, I didn't want to use all of them. And I didn't know, I didn't borrow myself sense that when I get to England, I will not use the CFA. So I was left with 5,000 CFA. So I remember that day I was talking to somebody in England. I was like, oh, I've got 5,000 CFA. Well, he said there's no way I can change it. That if I didn't change it at the airport and I didn't change it before I flew in, that there's no way I can change it until maybe I give it to someone that is going. I was like, so you mean this is not money? I cannot use it. Say no, they don't accept it. You cannot use it. I was like, what? That was when I started asking myself again, what is money? What is money? And I've seen that since I was born till now, I've never seen None of my elders, none of my parents have called me to say, sit down, let me tell you one or two about money. No, they will only tell you, go out, oh, make sure you work, oh, get money, oh, make sure so that you will live a good life, oh. But they never tell you what that money truly is. And this is a conversation I want us to start to begin to have as parents, as children. Let's begin to um, as parents, let's re-educate ourselves again, and the children as well. Teach your children, begin to teach your children at the earliest age what money is. Let them begin to understand it, what money is, so that they will not grow up having a wrong ideology about money, because some people have a wrong mindset about money. So what is your mindset on money? Another day I'm going to talk about money misconceptions, some of the wrong mindset people have about money. So today we want to discuss the subject matter, what money is. So let me take you a little bit to history. So I'm just giving you a brief overview so that you will get to understand where I was coming from, because as a young child, most of these things I'm getting to do, I'm teaching it by experience I've gathered along the way. So it's not something I read or I studied in the university. It's a research I began to do from myself based on the interest for it. As I help to monetize people's knowledge, I see that the everyday today person don't know what money is. And I was like, okay, me too. Let me begin to ask myself what money is. And I started talking about what money is by just like what we call common sense. I have not read it from any book. And one person came to my live show. He said, I've heard you speak. He said, I've not heard you quote anybody. I was like, yeah, it's coming from my life experience. I've not heard you quote anybody, say this person's book and all that. I was like, yeah, people are not dummies. People are intelligent. Human beings are intelligent, and they know when you are doing something from this. I said, these are all the things, experiences I have gathered. So these are a bit research I do. And when I was doing this research on the Tuesday evening, I was just smiling because I was like, before I started saying what I was saying, I went with so much passion, so much fire to the media to share to the world my discoveries. And now I was just reading these ones online because of this brief history I'm going to share with you. I was just smiling. I was like, hey, this thing sums up all what I've been saying. Indeed, it's only the truth that can set somebody free. Because I wasn't born before then. All the things that happened in 90 before how many hundred. So I had to do a brief history of that. I said, okay, let me go and see what were they using back in the days before pounds and what dollars. So back in the days, human needs, human have basic need of what? Food, shelter, their tools, and some of the what essential things that they need, basic, just very basic. Their needs were so basic. So what they started doing, they did what? Trade by barter. So they started to barter. They barter things, not even trade. Before they trade, they bartered things. And for someone who is here, I like to keep things very what? Simple in my school of money. We don't need another education or BB grammars. So what is barter? Someone may be asking, what is barter? So bartering means we exchange. I want this. I need this and I have this. So let's say I need this and I have this. So if the value of this is for this, I was okay. Give me your own. I take my own. We will exchange. So they exchange value for value. So depending on what you want. For instance, I wrote here a farmer that trades what? Grain for a hunter's meat. So because back in the day, in that earliest time, you are either a farmer or a hunter. You are either those basic things that they need, or you are a skilled maker, a pottery or clay or woodwork or iron work, metal work. So they always have skills that they deal on, and usually physical things. So me, I came from a village where that my father and my mom were farmers. And I remember my mother's brothers are fishermen. So in my village, I said, you're either a farmer or a fisherman. you fall in any of those two categories. So that is what bartering. So bartering, they were doing what? It was a direct exchange of goods and what? Services. So what I need, I will exchange it for what I want. I will exchange it for what I have. I remember that those days when I was so little. I left village when I was 5 years. I remember that time my brother, my uncle, they come back from fishing. They'll put some of the fish in their train and take to my mom. Likewise, my mom. Sometimes when they're coming from the farm, they'll package some of the things and said, "Okay, this is what I have, or take," because they know that we don't have anybody could catch fish for us. So they used to give us fish. Sometimes we too we take some things and we send to them. That is bartering, exchange of what? Goods and services. And then from bartering, they move to the next one, which is what? Commodity money. I'm reading it out here because, like I said, it's history. It's their so history, and it's way, way before my time. So I had to research it online when I was just um preparing for this note. So commodity money is a what? Is a valuable goods as currency. Valuable goods as currency is a common valued item. So commodity goods simply means a common valued what? Item, and is a medium of what? Changes. Let's take a look at some of the commodity goods as my book, as I have it here in my book. So this were what? Either livestock, as in terms of cattle or goats, or salt. When I stopped, I paused, I said salt. My partner said yes. That did you not remember the Roman saying? I said, which one is Roman saying? He said yes. That sometimes the Roman soldiers will say, you deserve it's something is it you deserve your salt, or you want your salt, something like that. I was like, really? They traded salt? He said yes. I said, do you people not have salt? That was the question I asked. I was like, do you people not have salt? He said no. For them in England, they do not have salt. Unlike some countries, like the Asian country, they literally dig out. So I was like, it's the sea, the salty sea and everything. Me, I do not, like I said, I do not really know if Africa has salt. But I believe so he said some people have it like a deposit. They could just dig it. And so when they found out that and that was how trade began. The Europeans used to come for Africa to trade spices. When they saw that, this thing, if I add it to my food, it enhances the flavor. Hey, they start coming for it. And so they started trading livestock, salt, shells, grain. Those were the what? Commodity money. So they were the medium of exchange. So they started trading. Maybe if I give you livestock, you give me salt. Or if I give you shells, you give me grain. Those were the commodity. That was how they were trading it. I was like, really? Say yes. So sometimes we need to go back and revisit this thing if you want to truly get a picture of it, you want to understand. And I don't know why I'm taking us back, but I truly want to paint a picture. Thank you for those who are just joining. If you're just joining and you're wondering what is going on here, we are teaching on the subject matter, what is money? Because I do what? I run an alternative school system where I help to do what? Monetize people's knowledge. And while on the show on TikTok, I come daily. I've come to realize that the everyday today person do not understand this simple concept called what? Money. In as much as everyone is looking for it. People say, I'm looking for money. I'm working for money. I want to make money. I want to make more money. I want to protect my money. I want to invest my money. Money, 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 money. But we never really sit down to uncover or discover or talk about the subject matter, money. And some people say, oh, don't tell me, there's nothing you want to tell me about money that I don't know. Money just simply, how do I make money? Oh, money just simply to go and work and you make money. But until you understand what money is, you keep what um until you understand what money is, you will not know how to even earn money or make money, because you need to know what money is. So there are some questions sometimes you need to ask yourself: what is money? Why do I need money? How do I make money? All those questions of this thing, those are important questions you need to ask yourself. So tonight is what is money? I run a 4 weeks program where I show people how to make money based on their knowledge. But tonight is we are talking the subject matter, what money is. And we said the first one, the earliest humans that existed, did what? They started with what? From record that I read online, because I say it's way before my time. It said they started with bartering. And we've come to explain, ask ourselves what bartering truly means. It is a medium of what? Exchange. So the battery was where you exchange what you need for what you want. So for instance, a farmer that has grain will say, I've got grain, and go to the hunter and say, give me meat, take my grain. So they will exchange and they go. So the challenge with that one, I didn't tell us the challenge before I moved to the number two. So the problem why they stopped battering was that sometimes if the farmer goes to the hunter may say, oh, I don't need it, I don't need your grains, I've still got some grains. And the farmer will be like, oh, so he will still keep going around till he sees who need what he has. So that was the challenge with that. And then from there, civilized the evolution moved to what? Using common commodities. We say the common what? Commodities were another medium of what? To exchange value. What were the common things, commodity they traded with? These were livestock, salt, shells, and what? Grains. These were the four common goods that they started doing what? Exchange with. So maybe you want livestock, I'll give you salt, or you want shells, I'll give you grains. And the people that use shells like cowrie, I remember cowrie, the Africans and the Asians use cowrie as what? Money. So let's move away from that. So the items. Okay, so they said why this common value commodity all works is because why the items worked as the early money, because they were widely what? Accepted, useful, and sometimes they were what? Scarce. And I was like, this is what, if you have been following me and my school of money, you will know that I mentioned this word usefulness, that I said usefulness, scarce, and I said for it to be a value, because I said what money is in my school of money, and I'm here to tell us. But if there's one word I want you to be taking note of for those who are following, the first one, when I mentioned battery, I said it was what? An exchange of value. So you don't just give what you don't need or what someone cannot use. You don't go and exchange what someone cannot use or what someone has. No, 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 no. So you exchange what they want for what you want. So you want this, I want that. We exchange. Okay, so we were exchanging value because what we were exchanging is something that will be useful to us. So if it's valuable, it is useful to you. That's why I say what is value. Sometimes you have to ask yourself what is value. So valuable is something that is useful to you. If the thing is not useful to you, it is not of value. Period. So no, I like to keep it simple, no long grammar. So exchange of value appeared the second one. The other one too said is a medium of what? Value. So circle the word value, value, value. And we say why they traded in common commodity goods was because what? It was widely accepted, it was useful or desirable, and sometimes it was scarce. And the number three one that they stay using is what? It's weighed metals. So when you talk about weighed metals, it is not the coins. So the weighed metals were in form of what? Silver, gold, or copper. These were not coins, so these were way before coins. And the weighed metal, the merchants who did the weighed metal were measuring it by the purest of it. And when I was doing the chart I said, I remember the old saying that say all that glitters are not gold. That means it came from that place. All that glitters are not gold. Because why the challenge with the weighed metal is that sometimes some people will bring some metals that are not purely silver or purely gold or purely copper. They said playing themselves. You know, human beings are good at that. And then they were like, oh, no, 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 we are not going to do that method again. Instead, causing conflict, argument, and all that. And then they brought what we now know as the word coins. That was what gave rise to the word coins. And they said, okay, for we are going to design this thing called coins, and to accept it, there must be a stamp from the ruler of that community or country or empire will have a stamp on it to kind of make it acceptable or original. So once they see that stamp on it, I'll say, okay, yes, I see the stamp of the king or the stamp of the ruler. That shows I can accept it. So that was what gave birth to what coins. And so someone will be thinking, you are here to still tell us this what money is. I'm giving you the history of money and I'm taking you a bit back. So in the long and short of it all, among these things I've said, and if there's one word that kept reappearing or I've been mentioning or I've been saying is what? Value and usefulness. So in one word, money simply means value. Money equals to value. So I want you to begin to every day go. One lady in my community, she said the thing that keep re-echoing in her head each day is money equals value. I say yes, carry it, be singing song with it. Money equals value. Money equals value. So that you not go and say, oh, money is what? Your pounds, money is your dollars, money is this, money is that. So money is value. So you now begin to ask yourself, what is value? Value is what? Something that is useful to you. It is useful. If it's not useful, it is not of value. It's not value. So I don't like giving long definition. The minute you know what money is and the purpose is served, you will now know, oh, why do I want money? So today we are not talking about the why, we are not talking about the reason, we are talking about the subject matter itself, and to shift our mindset. And that's why I took us back to the root of how they started. And I mentioned from the bartering side is that human beings still wanted their what? Essentials. What were the essential things that they needed? Food, shelter, their basic tools. Those were some of the essential things that they were trading and they bartering for. And it hasn't changed from time immemorial till now. We still need food, we still eat food, we still have need for shelter, and we still have need for one or two tools and clothing. Not too much, oh, basic clothing to just cover yourself up. And lockdown has proved that to us as well. This morning on my live show, I said I don't think a lot of people have learned what happened from lockdown. So because a lady came to my show when I started this, tell me what you know on monetize. She was the first lady that came, and she said, "Oh, I do with baby gowns. I sew baby ball gowns." I said, "How was your business during lockdown?" She said, during lockdown, she didn't sell. Oh, her shop were closed." I said, "Why?" She laughed and she made one funny, interesting comment, and she said, "Where were people going, let alone sewing baby ball gowns to it? Where were they going? There wasn't an event going on." So I said to her, I said, "During that time, do you know that a lot of people were looking for people to learn, teach them some things?" She said, "Yeah, that was the time she started some of her online teachings." Though I said, "Okay, that's good. Did you use it?" She said, "No, no, 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 no. She didn't teach during that period. It was after the lockdown." So I remember during that time they classed us, and they said essential workers are not essential. We were even laughing. Those in Nigeria were like, are you an essential worker? This was, no, I'm not an essential worker. That was the first time I heard that word used to describe. I was like, which one is essential worker? Which is not? They'll say essential worker if you're working in the medical sector, you're working in food, you are which other services again, that were the people that were allowed to move. So the rest sit down at home. So you now find out that if you fall in that category or what was classed as essential worker, that is the useful thing. Have you got that? Is it something you can trade with? Is it something you have stored? If not, start storing it. Start looking for it. Ask yourself, if they take this legal tender note or what am I going to stock up with? I always do this test with people. I say, if you are very hungry and I give you a handful of food and I have a handful of gold, which one will you go for at that time? The woman said, I will go for the food first. I need to eat food to have energy to hold my gold. So you now see that food is what is value and is useful, and it has been useful from the days of bartering till date. Because now a lot of us we no longer grow food again, so we cannot trade and barter. Yet we still eat food. So you know, say, okay, there is the one accepted. It has the king signature or it has the prince head on it, and so you can now, I will now give you and say, okay, give me that thing that you have. So that is what I need to begin to do, remind us of again what money truly is, because I see that it's something that this day generation do not know, and I am calling an awareness to re-educate us again, because I know our mind has been programmed for certain things, and every day by day, no day pass that someone will not come to my inbox and talk on the subject matter money. And also some will say loan me, borrow me, and I will like borrow you. When you now hear the thing they want to borrow money to do, you now ask yourself, is there no other ways of doing it? Because if I borrow you this money now, how do you intend to give me back? And then me and you will start now dragging ourselves. One, borrow me money to do birthday party. Do they borrow money to do a birthday party, like your birthday party? One say borrow me money to sew a uniform. I run a school. I need money, and the spirit of God is directing you to me. It's because you see me talk about money every day, every day. One of my cousins said, this is my fine sister. Every time she's talking about money. I say, yes, that is a conversation churches don't have. Yet, if we are to take a sample, a sample in that organization or congregation, what do they call it? 80 to 75 or 80% of the members, most of their problem center around money. For those in Africa, is a money problem. So why are we not having a conversation of money? Why are we not educating people about what money is and how for them? Sometimes I say to some people, you may have to change your lifestyle because you like to do show off. You like, oh, let people just know you want to. That's why someone say borrow me money to do birthday party. If you don't have money to do, he say, I want people to know that my own is not the worst case scenario. Like I'm still better off than some people, and yet you are borrowing money to do something. Well, I don't know how to help those ones, and I've seen it that I cannot fall for those kind of people, because if you have a few weeks ago, I was having a conversation with a young boy, and I was telling him, "Oh, do you know that with this skill that you know, this that you know, you can start earning extra income for yourself?" He was like, you mean I should start doing marketing?" I was like, what's there with marketing? Talk about the product because you have used it. Share with people the benefits. Don't say what you haven't experienced. He said, no, 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 no. So now you are telling him how to make money, because I said you have to ask yourself, what is money, how to make money, and all that. And then a few weeks ago, he came and said, oh, please help me with some money. Hey, the same marketing that you don't want to talk about, me, I'm talking about marketing, and I've gotten money from me. You are not telling me to give you my own money to do it. So you have seen it that some people, they just think that, oh, money is if I just get 5 or 10 people and begin to write a list and begin to beg them. And some people have literally turned to online beggars. I mean, I don't used to have sympathy for those people. No, again. What is that? I don't used to have sympathy for them again, no. Because if you tell them, okay, this is what money is, or these are some of the ways you can earn money, they'll be like, oh, no, no, I can't do that. I'm camera shy, I can't talk online. Then when me and I work my own, me then I put my own self and talk my own and get the money, I should not borrow you the money. You now see why some people don't borrow. Well, that's the digression. So that is what I have for us tonight. The long and short of it is that money is what value, and the earlier we begin to stock up on what's valuable to us, what's useful to us, the better we begin, the better we, or the less we rely on what we currently know as money. Because you see some people, they will hold on to that their savings account. They will be literally suffering. they need something, they'll be like, oh no, 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 because they feel like they are not deserving of that thing. If that thing can make the work easy for you, save you time and all that, or it is useful to you now or later in the future, my dear, take that your digits that you have. Sometimes I don't like mentioning the names here because of the algorithm. Take it and get that useful thing that you have. Stock it up, because why? It is useful. You're gonna, if it's food, get some, save it in your set. If it's tools, like the earliest men did, stock up on tools. If it's what, shelter, take what you have now, get that one, provide for yourself, and start building yourself in that. This is not only when you look your reflection on your bank account, you like, you say to yourself, oh yeah, I'm where them. So on another day, I'm going to talk about research about how the banks were able, because it's way before my time. So I will have to go and research that one, how they got people from using commodity like we know, and created an institution, that how they were able to convert people and say, okay, let's all bring our resources together under an umbrella called what, bank, where people could now deposit their money or send in their money. And how we we've moved from here to that point now. And some people are even moving and say, oh no, 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 I don't trust this institution again. Because when I was a young girl growing up, my grandmother, then they always the thing is always under her colo, under her seat. They don't go to the institutions, they don't use it, because some of them will say, I don't trust them, so they don't use it, they always put it. But the challenge was, some people will say, oh, it can go missing, or somebody will take it from you, so some of them, they buried it somewhere. Some is always tied in their waist. Someone like my mother, she always tie her own around her waist. And I knew my parents to always stock up on food. We grew up, we have food, we always talk about food. The little money my mother has is just for her to be paying like transport or this thing. We stock up on food. Most of the food we ate what was available in our village. So that was how our life till today. Sometimes I still wake up, I still want to eat some of those things that we ate, because when you literally wake up, sometimes you can even eat the leftover food for from this thing. That was how we started living. So some people, the truth is that you may have to do what, adjust. You have to bend, be flexible, so that you accommodate the current situation, because the world is changing. A lot of people are screaming fuel, 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 fuel right now. So ask yourself, do I need to go to that place? If not, cut down on it. It's not compulsory. You will go, and then do the rest online. Say to people, take advantage of online while the internet is still on. So that's what I have for you today. It's OJ Speaks, and I'll see you at the same time next week, where we'll get to discuss another issue, or we will carry on this subject matter called money. And if you're looking to join, there is a link on my link here on YouTube, coaching community. It's available. Click the link there, and it will bring you to our coaching community, where you get to meet and network with other people. You tell us a brief of yourself, who you are and what knowledge you've got, and maybe there may be someone there that is interested in your knowledge, or you can network, trade and barter. You can begin to trade and barter. Yes, that's another point. You begin to trade, sometimes learn skills where you begin to trade and barter. And I talked about stock up on food, your tools, shelter, energy, skills, tradable what, skills. Sometimes we begin to trade skill. I've literally see them in my live stream. This one say, okay, 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 I'm interested in that. This one say, okay, don't worry, you too, you want this. There was a lady, she said, okay, I'm knowledgeable on what, TikTok, I'll teach you how to create content. The other one said, okay, I'll teach you on automations. You could see they were already switching. But if it's you that do not have any, now you have to pay to get both. But then now they're already say, okay, you will do this for me, I will do that for you. So you can even trade your skills or your knowledge. So don't only limit yourself to thinking that, oh, let me just acquire this legal notes, legal note. Let me just acquire those ones. It's those things that you acquire. We call it wealth. Some is your wealth of knowledge. It's those things, useful things that you acquire yourself that is truly worth money. And I want us to begin to remind ourselves and make use of it again. It's one thing to have knowledge or information, is another thing to use it and implement it. So I was hoping someone is going to come from my community. No one came from my community. No worries, no problem. And I don't know. I'm going to find out from there if the timing is not okay for them, or I know 7 p.m. A lot of people was here 7 p.m. Twice we've done it, or if it's the fact that we are doing it on YouTube, I do not understand. But I'm going to have a conversation with them, because this teachings, weekly teachings, is purely set up for them to kind of give them value for being part of the what community, and we are learning together. So thank you, everyone. I'll see you in next week Thursday on the same spot. It's OJ Speaks.